Hi, everybody. My name is Josiah. I'm a crystal child.
My name is Rose, and I'm 11 years old, and I'm a crystal child.
Happy Halloween Eve, everyone! This video is about crystal children. Do you have a crystal child? I'm going to go over a few characteristics of crystal children. Most crystal children have big, large, clear eyes, which seem to kind of see right through you. When you look into their eyes, they're just mesmerizing. Crystal children are immediately likable. They are beings of pure love, and people are drawn to them. Crystal children are deeply affectionate children. Their hugs will feel very sincere and very warm and meaningful. Some crystal children, not all, but some crystal children don't start talking until later on in their toddler years. Crystal children are very vibrational beings, and they may have a gift for music. A lot of them will sing. So a lot of them like to sing. My daughter likes to sing. She's always singing and humming around the house. My grandson, when he's sitting down and he's doing something, he's humming or singing or making up some kind of a tune out loud. Actually, talking about my daughter, she was called the singing baby of Brockport. My daughter would hum and coo when you played music, and she would coo to the beat of the music that you were playing. Crystal children are very psychic. They are born aware. They're born without having to hone the skill of the psychic ability. Also, crystal children are very telepathic. That's why some of them don't speak until later on in their toddler years, because they are born, and when they cross over and they come into the physical body, their way of communicating is telepathy. So that's how they're used to communicating. So that's why a lot of them don't actually start speaking until later on in their toddler years, because they're trying to communicate you telepathically. So for many of you that have children that are not showing any signs of communicating verbally, try to communicate with them telepathically. You'll be surprised that you will start to feel them before you can actually hear them. Some crystal children get diagnosed with autism or Asperger's, spectrum labels. Some of them grow out of it, and some of them don't grow out of it. Just because your crystal child has autism doesn't mean that your child is not intelligent. You have a very gifted child if your child has autism. All crystals are peaceful, loving beings. They're peaceful and loving towards everybody. And they're peaceful, loving beings towards everything. Animals, nature, people, bugs, everything. Crystal children are very protective of the planet. So don't ever litter in front of one, because you will get a mouthful. Also, crystal children are very compassionate and very forgiving. And this one's a very hard one, because my daughter is a crystal child, so is my grandson, but my daughter is actually in school. And in school, she'll get bullied a lot, and she's very forgiving to the children that bully her. Instead of being mean and attacking them back, she's nice to them. She shows love towards them, and she acts like they never did anything to her. And that's just because that's a characteristic of a crystal child, because they're very forgiving. Crystal children are actually very radiant, and their vibration will transform everybody around them. So when I think that my daughter, I keep thinking you're standing next to me. This is so weird. That's why I believe that my daughter is very forgiving, because her light codes will eventually transform the people that are around her. Crystals are highly sensitive, both emotionally and environmentally. If you have a crystal child in your life, then you would probably already know this, that most crystal children may be affected by loud sounds, and they're affected by chaotic surroundings. Like, I know that when my daughter was smaller, I was unable to take her to a parade because the sound of the fire trucks blowing their horn would make her very scared and very anxious. Same thing with my grandson. Fireworks bother him. So on the 4th of July, we cannot take him out to watch the fireworks because they're too loud for him and it bothers him. Crystals are very, I don't want to say picky, but they're kind of picky with textures and buttons and zippers and cottons and polyesters. They're very specific of what they put on their skin. Also, smells. Some smells bother them. So if you're spraying like, like the what is it called? The Febreze. Febreze may actually bother a crystal child or a crystal being because they can smell the unnatural poisons that is, the chemicals that is in that spray, and it makes them feel like they're being poisoned and they can't breathe. I'm not a crystal child, but I'm an indigo, and this is one of my symptoms. And for those of you that are indigos out there, starseeds, I'm sure that textures and smells is like huge for you, something that is like major, because I know I can't even plug in those Glade plugins. My husband loves when the house smells fabulous. Okay, so he goes and he buys these plugins, and they're like this little oil that you stick inside this plug, and you plug it in, and it makes the whole house smell really good. But I can't stay in the house. It'll give me major migraines. It'll make my sinuses burn. It will hurt my lungs. It'll make me feel like I just can't breathe. So when I'm cleaning, I like to clean with essential oils. I like to use, I have a sage oil, I have peppermint oil, I have all kinds of oils, and I like to make my own cleaning stuff with like lemons and stuff like that. Everything is all natural when I clean. Every once in a while, I'll clean with Fabuloso because I know my husband loves the way it smells. So we kind of compromise because he really cannot stand the things that I use to make the house smell good. I like sage, I like Palo Santo, I like my peppermint oils, and that stuff kind of drives him crazy. So, we kind of compromise. When you're married, you have to have a compromise. Another symptom that crystal beings carry is allergies and food intolerances. This is what I have to deal with all the time. Because of their finely tuned frequency, they may have multiple food allergies and cannot endure the chemicals and the GMOs and the pesticides, causing them to have gastrointestinal issues. GERD, I think it's called GERD, or GERD. I always get that one messed up. Very sensitive stomach. You guys, my daughter has the most sensitive stomach in a person that I have ever met. I can eat mostly anything. Well, I don't mess around with all that GMO crap food anyways, but for the most part, I can eat almost anything healthy, spicy, sour. I can handle a lot of things that my daughter cannot handle. You know what else they're very sensitive to? They're very sensitive to dairy products. It's probably a good thing that crystals stay away from dairy, because not only do they have, allergies and sinus issues, but and gastrointestinal issues. Dairy will cause, them, because they're lactose intolerant, the gastrointestinal issues. So it'll make that worse. It'll make the sinuses worse because it will induce or create more mucus. So when you have sinus issues, you're trying to get rid of the mucus, and milk and cheese and yogurt will increase the mucus. So I always tell my daughter, don't drink milk. You guys, milk is not how you get vitamin D, okay? Going outside, getting sunlight is a good way to get vitamin D. Taking a supplement, a vitamin D vitamin, is a good way to increase the vitamin D in your body. Eating mushrooms is a good way to increase the vitamin D in your body. There's so many things that you guys can take that is healthy for you to increase your vitamin D and build muscle and calcium. Milk, my friends, is not one way to do it. It's a way to, it's actually a bad way. It's just really disgusting, you guys. If you really knew what you were drinking, you would probably never drink it again. I don't mess with milk. Milk is disgusting. When I found out how milk is made and what I'm drinking, those antibiotics, the pus, the blood, ugh, no, I don't touch milk no more. Plus, I have a lot of sinus issues. And since I stopped drinking milk, I have less mucus stored in my face. Yeah, I probably took it too far. I don't think it's stored in my face, but that's how it feels. Crystal children love, love, love animals. We have field mice because we live in the country. We live in the middle of nowhere, down by the water, so we have a problem with field mice. I think I just spit. Did you guys see that? Say it, don't spray it, Gabbie. Anyhow, we have a little problem with field mice. So my husband set up traps to get rid of the field mice, and he caught a mouse. My daughter was so upset. She cried and cried and cried and begged him to let the mouse go. That made me feel sad. So I don't really like the mouse traps, but I don't really like mouse poop all around my cupboards. But now I have a cat, so problem solved. Some crystals even become vegetarians because they love animals that much. Okay, listen up, moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles and whoever else has crystal babies in their life. Crystal children or crystal beings are very empathic beings, meaning they can feel everything around them of what's going on. So if you're in a toxic relationship and you're raising a crystal child, just know your crystal baby can feel it all, everything that's going on. If you have a lot of love in your house, your empathic child will absorb that love. If you have a lot of hate in your house, your empathic child will absorb that hate and feel it, and it's not a very comfortable feeling. So being that they're empathic, they can actually feel the pain of others, and they do not desire to contribute towards the suffering, okay? Because they're very empathic in feeling everything around them, they may not know the distinction between, their emotions and the people around them. So they may feel sad and they don't know why they're sad, but it's because the people around them are sad. Or they can feel very happy and they don't know why they're happy. They're just in a really good mood. They're just happy. That's because the people around them are very happy. So remember that. Crystal children are very empathic children, and they absorb the energy around them. They can feel everything. And you cannot lie to a crystal child either. Most crystal children, they love, 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 love them some crystals, you guys. I mean, like, love crystals. My daughter loved crystals ever since she was a baby. We used to go to Florida all the time, and we would go to the crystal factory, and she was immediately drawn to all the crystals and the stones and the gems where they sell them at the factory. Also, when we go to the beach, instead of making sand castles and playing in the water, she was collecting seashells. When we're out in the yard, just doing whatever, she collects rocks and sticks and leaves and anything that has to do with nature. Acorns, pine cones, flowers, everything. Crystals love nature. They love rocks. They love stones. They love everything, gems. And, you know, they're pretty much drawn to anything and all things that come from the earth, even dirt. Crystal children are healers, and they're very good at it. They can elicit these healing abilities through their connection with crystals. I want to share something with you that's pretty amazing, and I really wish I would have documented it and recorded it when this happened, because this is so bizarre and so true. You know, I cannot make this up, and I really wish I would have documented it because it would have blown your mind. It blew my mind. So my daughter has crystals because she collects crystals. So she has all kinds of crystals, and she uses them for healing. Whenever she gets a headache or whatever, you know, she picks a crystal from the many crystals that I have in this room, and she'll use them and she'll heal using them. So moving on, because I want to get to the point of the story because it's so amazing. We have a kitten. Her name is Minerva, and she found my daughter's betta fish swimming around in his little bowl, and she had this bowl on her dresser, and it's been there for probably 3 years now. So, okay, Minerva found the fish. Minerva hurt the fish very badly. I mean, like, really bad. The fish, I thought, was a goner. I thought I was going to have to flush him down the toilet. So, the fish was in really bad shape. He was floating sideways. He was at the bottom of the tank. He wasn't moving. And then he would float sideways, and you could only see one fin, you know, moving. And then you could see the fish's mouth just like opening and closing, trying to, I guess, breathe. Then I found him upside down, floating, dead. He wasn't breathing. He wasn't moving. I tapped on the bowl. Nothing. So I was like, oh, man. And she was crying. She was so upset. She was so mad at the cat. I told her we're going to have to flush him down the toilet. Something told me, don't flush him down the toilet. Wait. So I asked my daughter. I said, do you want to try something? She said, what? I said, let's go get all our crystals, our clear quartz crystals. So we got all of our clear quartz crystals. We moved her betta fish to another room. She has a dollhouse. It's a huge dollhouse. It's about 3 feet tall. And we put the betta fish in the living room inside this dollhouse. And we put all of the quartz crystals around the dish, the bowl. And me and my daughter, we rubbed our hands together real fast to create energy and heat and healing, healing energy and heat and healing powers, okay? So we did that, placed the crystals around the dish. We held our hands over the fish, her hands, my hands. You could feel this energy coming out of our hands, radiating, it was like pulsing. And it feels like if you've ever had a body part kind of fall asleep on you and it gets that weird feeling, that numb feeling, but like a tingling numbness. I don't know how to explain it unless you've experienced it. Well, that's the feeling we had going through our hands, and they were very warm. And we were just, you know, praying over the fish and you know, telling him he's going to heal, he's going to get better, and you know, just doing a few manifestations and intentions. And we talked to the crystals, and then we did that for about maybe 10 minutes. It wasn't very long at all. And she was very upset. So, you know, I'm sure she did her own little prayers on the side because she spent some time alone with him. And I'm sure she, you know, did her own crystal child healing thing. So I let her be with her fish. Her fish's name is Noelle. And believe it or not, the next morning, Noelle was swimming. He was alive. He was breathing. And he wasn't sideways anymore. And then a few days later, he was swimming a little faster. He was a little stronger. And then a week later, he was 100% healed. Like nothing was ever wrong with him. And I thought to myself, you know, on day 2, I thought to myself, okay, maybe this is that energy, you know, that last energy you get before you die. I don't know if you've ever been around anybody that has transitioned over. And a lot of times when people are transitioning, they go through that energetic stage when they're alive and they're eating and they're joking, and then they go back into that coma and they pass away. Well, I thought that's what was happening with the fish. I thought, okay, he's going through that energetic stage. He ate some food. He swam a little bit. I'm going to find him tomorrow floating. No. I found him the next day swimming even faster. He was doing fantastic. He survived. He's still alive. This happened 2 months ago. He's still alive. He's doing well. The power of crystals, the power of healing, the power of crystal children is amazing, you guys. And I really wish I would have documented it, because I'm telling you guys, this is a true story. And I can have my daughter come down here right now and tell you that this is 100% true. This is amazing. We brought the fish back to life. How awesome is that? Pure magic. That's what it was. Magic. Crystal children have a very close connection to the spirit realm. They have a very close connection to spirit in general. When my daughter, my Rose, was a little girl, she only knew of my husband's father, his stepfather, okay? And she only met my husband's father, which is his stepfather. She never met my husband's biological father, because he passed away when my husband was a young boy. He was murdered in Brooklyn. And you know, she was really little. She at this point, she's never seen a picture of him or anything. And she could tell my husband that his father was there. And my husband's like, oh yeah? What's Grandpa doing? What's Grandpa look like? And she would explain, you know, Grandpa's wearing a black hat. Grandpa has this mustache. Like, the husband's real father wore a hat all the time. And he had a mustache that came like this. And I could show you a picture. And he's a very big man. And my daughter explained to him what he looked like in detail, in perfect detail. It blew my husband's mind that my husband went out to the storage area and dug through all the boxes to pull out the picture to show it to my daughter. And she said, that's Grandpa. How amazing is that? That's how close children are to the spirit realm. So not only can crystal children connect to spirits like loved ones and family members, they can also connect to angels, and they connect to fairies, the elementals. They connect to ancestors. Talking about elementals, I have a video of my daughter during Christmas time. She had this elf hat on, and this little fairy came up and kissed her right on the lips. And I will put the link to that video down in the description so you guys can check it out and tell me what you guys think. Crystal children can also remember their past lives. Not all of them, but many crystal children can remember their past lives, and they can explain who they are, what they were, or how they dressed, all the way down to detail. Some parents have been able to actually find who they were when they were alive in a past life and bring their children to the place where their past life took place, and their child would confirm it and validate it. A lot of crystal children are very artistic. They are excellent at drawing and painting. They're very, very creative, and it's such a blessing to have a crystal child in my life. And now I have two, my daughter and my grandson, two little crystal babies running around. Very creative, singing, dancing, coloring, drawing. I can't paint nothing. Nothing. My pictures are like stick people. My daughter can draw, and you show her a picture and she can draw it. She can paint it. My grandson is 4 years old, and he can draw better than me. They're just very creative beings. You know, they see the world through rose-colored glasses. Crystal children are fearless. Yes, fearless. I'm always worried about what they're doing. I'm like, be careful, don't do that. Don't jump like that. You're gonna break your neck, you're gonna break your head, you're gonna break your back. They're fearless. And not only just playing around are they fearless, you know, like climbing and stuff like that. They like scary movies. They're like not scared of anything. They're not scared of scary movies. They're not scared of big, mean looking dogs. They're not afraid to be little daredevils and, you know, jump around in the trampoline and flip around and or dive in the deep end. They're just fearless. And the reason crystals are fearless is because of their intuitive connection to the planet. They know their boundaries. And I just mentioned they're fearless, right? Yes. And I mentioned everything that they do being these little fearless toddlers running around doing all this stuff. I mentioned how they like to flip around on the trampoline, dive in the deep end, and climb. Well, that's because they're avid climbers. Not only can they climb trees, but you'll find them in your house probably on the door frame, like the doorway, climbing up the wall and holding themselves there. Or if you try to put something in the cabinet, like on the highest shelf in the cabinet, they will figure out how to get up there because they're avid climbers. You might find them climbing up on the refrigerator to grab their favorite box of cereal. I mean, they are fearless. They can do so many things, and it blows my mind. Have you ever seen a 4-year-old climb? It is the cutest thing ever, but it will make you have a heart attack if you're a parent. I forgot one thing. They can also climb over the baby gate. So if you have a tiny little baby crystal child, you know, maybe like 2 years old, don't underestimate them. Don't put up the baby gate and just, you know, think that that's going to keep them out of that room or away from those stairs. Keep an eye on them because they are little explorers. They will figure out how to get over that gate so they can see what's on the other side. What are you keeping them from? They will figure it out. So you got to keep an eye on them. Just because they're smart and fearless and avid climbers, it doesn't mean that they know better. They're not mindful of the limitations of, their little physical bodies. So you definitely have to keep an eye on them because they will get to the other side or climb to the top of whatever it is that they're looking for. A lot of crystal children are born into homes of parents that are indigos. So I mentioned earlier that I'm an indigo. Yes, that's me. I'm an indigo. I'm a starseed. So my crystal child was born into a home of indigos. My grandson is a crystal child, and his mother is a very psychic being. She's aware of it, but she's still very skeptical of it. So I know that he was born into an indigo home as well, just that his indigo mommy isn't really aware or comfortably aware that she's psychic. She just likes to pretend that she never really saw what she saw or heard what she heard. She's that kind of indigo. But one of these days, it will all come together and she will open up, or maybe she won't. We are on Earth. Earth is a place of free will, so who knows? Either way, Josiah was born into a indigo home. Crystal children are very eager to grow up, you guys. I always tell my daughter, enjoy your childhood while it lasts, because when you grow up, you're going to wish you were a child again. Some crystal children think that they know better than us what will serve them, what is good for them. Their sleep schedule, food choices, and, arbitrary rules doesn't really fly easily for them. Innately, they know what is better for them than our idea of parenting permits. So, yeah, you got to keep an eye on those little guys. But all in all, the blessings of these beings of light, these little tiny crystal humans, are certainly making our world an easier, kinder, more peaceful place to inhabit. It's just making it a better place to be. If you have a crystal child at home, you should start to honor them. As a collective, as we all become aware of our crystal children and honor their teachings and honor their new ways, we'll be able to move into a new vibration of consciousness a lot easier. It will actually be these brave and delightful little souls who will show us the ways of the new earth. And just in case you didn't know, the new earth is already here. These little beings of light are leading us into the golden age. And they're going to lead us into the golden age with peace and love. Many blessings to all of you guys. If you have a crystal child, please share something below about your little tiny crystal being, your little soul of light. I want to hear your stories. Many blessings to all of you guys. Mwah, 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 mwah. Happy, happy, happy Halloween. Don't forget to light a candle for one of your loved ones, you guys.